Is it just me? Or it doesn't even feel like you own your own property anymore? I mean, yes, your name's on the title, but you can't evict tenants for non-payment of rent. You're not allowed to raise their rent. It's almost like the government snuck in eminent domain powers without compensating you. And COVID-19 is the big public project that they're using to enact, eminent domain powers. Of course, they're not calling it that, but it almost feels like that, where they're going and taking over your property. So today, what I want to do is share with you what you can look forward to and when you can start evicting the tenants that are non-performing. Because at the end of the day, it happens. It's a normal business transaction. Your tenants aren't paying rent. You go ahead and go through the process. But right now, that's being stopped. LA City, LA County, their ordinances are kind of similar. So in general, they have an emergency period, and if your tenants can't pay rent during that period, you can't evict them for that. And after that emergency period is over, which should be around end of June, hopefully, right? They have 12 months to pay that amount back that they were not able to pay during that emergency period. For residential tenants, multifamily, they have 12 months. But for commercial tenants, they have 3 months only. Now, technically, your tenants are supposed to notify you 7 days before rent is due that they're not able to pay due to a COVID-19 situation. But they're not required to prove to you they're not able to pay. And you're not allowed to force them to use government relief programs to pay that rent. And that's multifamily, of course. There's the PPP loan for commercial tenants, which is meant for them to pay rent. But in general, your hands are kind of tied. They still have 12 months to pay back after the emergency period's over, and who knows when they're going to extend that emergency period. Commercial tenants, they have 3 months, but who knows as well. But here's the thing. Rent is due every single month, and they need to notify you 7 days before rent is due. My opinion is they need to go ahead and notify you every single time. So just because they notify you the first month of that emergency period, but they didn't do it the second month, I would say go ahead and still file the eviction notice. Get the process rolling. You don't want your tenants getting comfortable. That's if you didn't work anything out, by the way. Of course, if you work something out with them, you have a mutual agreement, that's great. What I'm saying is if nothing has been worked out and they're just taking advantage of it, you need to go ahead and force action on them right away. Whether it gets thrown out or not by the judge, it's important to show them that you're on top of it. You can use these technicalities that they didn't notify you again the second time within 7 days, because rent is due every single month. Another thing is, after the emergency period, you could evict them for rent not paid after that. So they have 12 months to pay back the rent due during that 3-month the emergency period, which hopefully it's only going to be 3 months. But typically, tenants, if they're not going to pay during those 3 months, chances are they're not going to pay during the 4th month either. So once that time hits, they don't pay the rent on the 1st, come the 5th, you get the process rolling. Past the grace period, start right away if you haven't started before. Because my opinion is I would start even before that, because they need to notify you every single month, 7 days before rent is due. I know it's tough times right now. So if you want to sit down together for a free strategy session, feel free to reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. We can sit down and talk about property management or renegotiating the lease with your tenant. Let's sit down and see what we can do for you.